Hey everybody, welcome to our review of Furiosa. We're going to start off with a spoiler-free review, then we're going to follow that up with a spoiler review, and then we're going to talk about what people on Criticless are thinking currently.
Warning. The following show features reviews from wildly unprofessional critics operating without the supervision of professionals. The thoughts and opinions held by these individuals are not to be taken seriously and do not come from a place of intellectual integrity. This show doesn't reflect the opinions of Criticless or its users. Viewer discretion is advised.
What's up, what's up, what's up?
Hell yeah.
Welcome to this week's Criticless Cast Unhinged. As you can tell, Blaine isn't here today, so I'm in charge. We're having fun, keeping it loosey-goosey. Today, we, of course, have Chris joining us.
What's up, everybody?
And then we also have our guest, who is the beautiful, lustrous Zena Verlac. Today, we will be discussing Furiosa, Mad Max Saga. Obviously, this is a prequel to Mad Max Fury Road, focusing on Furiosa. This is directed, written, and probably many other things by George Miller, who has written and directed all the other Mad Max movies.
Yeah.
He's been doing this since the 70s. This is his one and only passion project. So it was also written by Nick.
That's all he does.
Yeah.
I think that might be the case. I don't know if he does anything.
Chris and I
else.
discovered it was Sin City earlier.
Yeah, that was
our thoughts.
the what triggered in my mind. It's like, is this the person who did Sin City? Which it is. And I didn't realize he was that old, but apparently he's
Is it? Did we look it up?
Okay, well, he has directed 19 other things.
19. It's a good number.
3,000 Years of Longing was one of his more recent things. He
Love
did the
it.
Happy Feet movies.
Oh,
Weird.
Babe,
Penguins.
Pig in the City,
Also
Babe?
fucking
The
weird.
Witches of Eastwick. Zena, you love that movie?
I do love that movie.
Yeah.
The campiness makes sense.
And then some other things I hadn't heard of. Oh, Twilight Zone the movie from 1983.
Interesting.
So he actually quite has a very
So
interesting.
he didn't do Sin City.
No, that's Frank Miller wrote, which is probably what you
Okay,
guys
they're
thought.
Is
Miller.
Frank Miller his son?
It's a real big
Headcanon.
scandal.
Done.
Yep.
That makes sense. That's a great headcanon there. So also, just to throw out before we get into anything juicy, this stars an Anya Taylor-Joy, Chris Hemsworth, Tom Burke, and some other folks.
Just want to clarify that Furiosa stars those people.
What'd I say?
Nothing. You
Oh.
didn't say anything.
Well, yeah, it's
we were
about this
talking
movie.
about Frank
No,
Miller.
yeah, this movie, Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga,
The one we're reviewing
Yes.
currently.
the
Today.
movie we are discussing today.
Yes.
All right. So to start off, let's go ahead and guess our critic scores.
Okay.
Oh shit! I haven't even thought about that.
You can go last, which can be
Okay.
a blessing and a boon, or bane, whatever it's called. Chris, you want to go first?
A blessing and a boon. I'm going to
No,
say
boons are positives.
yeah,
aren't they?
a blessing and a boon.
No,
Yeah.
but there's like a blessing and a curse.
No, we want two of the same thing.
All right,
we
whatever.
want two good things, man. Don't be a negative Nancy.
I will be what I want to be.
That's fair. I'm going to say that the critics are going to give this a 63. That's the number I'm going with because
Okay.
I feel like it's what the critics are going to give it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'll go next so Zena can hem and haw a little longer. I think an 80%.
Oh, 80.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think a lot of critics are going to come out and say that they really like this movie. And then there'll be a couple sprinkled in there that say, you know what, I didn't like this as much.
All right.
And Zena?
Yeah, I think critics are gonna say like 75%.
Splitting the difference. I
Mhm.
like it. I respect
Oh,
that.
man, splitting the diff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We see you over there. Quick, before we dive any further, I wanted to jump back into If.
Okay.
On Criticless, just
Sure.
to look at the scores.
Yeah.
I meant to do that before this, but here we are. So It looks like we only have 8 votes so far, so not a lot of people. I know 3 of them were on this recording last week. Let's see. That's Sleepy Space Mom with Sid, who our guest was last week. She's sitting in with a rad. We have Chris here with a rad, twinsies.
Yeah.
Let's see.
She
The
copied me,
Bastard
by
in
the way.
Black gave it a most excellent, a very low most excellent. 80% is the lowest you can go. Sober Gaijin, 90%. He's got a great review.
Oh yeah, his story is precious. I love it.
Yeah, he is very well written. I love reading his reviews. Let's see. My
Preach.
Joe Java gave it a rad. Was it good? Another rad. It's looking like this movie is a rad or a most excellent. And I'd guess based on this, I'm going to say it'd be a very high rad if I was going to average these. We don't average them until they're 10, so we don't have any sort of false number up here. All right. So next, spoiler-free review. So here we just kind of want to give your generic thoughts, your knee-jerk reactions. Chris, you want to start us off?
Sure. Yeah. Okay, so it's been a while. These two have watched all of the Mad Max movies within the past 4 days.
Yep,
Something like that. So
back to back.
yeah, they're very well versed in the universe, in the feel, the vibes. I do not have that. The last movie that I watched of this, actually, I think I did watch the original, the first Mad Max.
Yeah.
After watching Fury Road, and I wasn't super impressed with the first movie.
Okay. How many
Makes
years ago
sense.
was this?
Well,
Hmm.
Fury Road came out in what, 2015?
Yeah.
Right.
So
So
that long ago.
yeah, it's been
Okay.
a hot minute. It's been a real long time. So I was lukewarm on the very first movie that came out in the 80s, early 80s, I assume it was.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Or
loved-
late 70s even.
Okay.
Was it
I think
79
it
or
was the
81?
70s.
Okay.
It was, I mean, it was a long fucking time ago.
Yeah. It was a long ass time.
That is true.
So I don't have the backstory that they do, or the the more recent context between it. But for this movie specifically, I wasn't really impressed with it. There was a lot left to enjoy. I feel like they could have done a lot more with it, and I'll get more into it with the spoiler review. But I would give this around where I thought the critics were going to be, in a low 60s area. So
Okay.
it's enjoyable. I did like a lot of it. It is fun, but it missed a lot of opportunities that it could have been better in.
Okay. I think so. You're saying low 60s. I think that's still a rad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very low rad.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Which I looked it up while you were talking on Criticless. Mad Max is showing at it came out in 1979.
79. Okay, that
Yeah.
was close.
And with 19 votes, we have a 75%. So it's sitting at a rad.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Surprising.
Which is my critic thought for the new one.
Oh, look at you. Well, Zena, do you want to go next? What is
Yeah.
your knee-jerk reactions?
I'll go. I think it was like a low 60s. Like I'm saying 61%. Like just right at the border of rad and decent. And honestly, when I start writing my review, I might say it's a decent.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Mm.
so I'm just gonna put that caveat out there that it might be changing.
Yeah.
But it definitely could have been better. It is not my least favorite of the series, but it's pretty damn close.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Interesting.
mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I'm in the same boat you are. I'm torn between a high decent and a low rad.
Mm-hmm.
And as we discuss it, maybe that'll affect me one way or the other. But I think this is second bottom of the Mad Max series for me.
Mm-hmm. That's where I'm sitting too.
Yeah.
Thunderdome fucking blows.
God. Yeah, Thunderdome was it's pretty bad.
Yeah, I've literally only seen, of the original trilogy, I've only seen the first one. So I haven't seen
The second
Beyond
one is worth
Thunderdome.
watching.
The second one is really good. It is the best under Fury Road. Like Fury Road, after watching it again, is still the best.
Yeah.
Like period.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, without seeing those other movies, I
Without
fully
Out
seeing-
of
agree.
the 3 I've seen.
Yeah, exactly.
Because now you've seen 3.
True. Yeah.
So you really branched out here.
Yeah,
Thank
3 out of 5.
Yep. So I feel like this is. I'm actually really surprised that you gave it that score, like essentially the same that I did. I got the impression that you were enjoying it more than I did, but maybe you're just a really good actress.
No, I liked it. See, this is the problem, and this is what people on Criticless like give me a lot of shit for in my reviews. Is I might rate something as a rad, like a low rad, but I will still like the movie. It's still rad.
Sure.
It's just not most excellent.
Right.
No.
Like Fury Road is most excellent. Like
Right.
that movie is fucking badass. Every single scene is balls to the wall,
hmm
and this is not that.
No, I 100% agree, and that's
Yeah.
kind of where I feel like I fall in the same boat as you, to where, and I stumble over my words all the time, but I do that often whenever I'm like, it's middle of the road, and so that's why it's like a mid 70. Like it's not a 50. Like
Mhm.
that in my mind, like
Mhm.
a 50 is like like the most ever. But
Yeah, like super mid, just
Right.
whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so this one, I 100%. I feel like we're all literally in the
Yeah, the
same.
same.
I said it 60 or low 60.
I think we're all sitting at almost a very mid kind of movie.
Right, like decent.
Yeah.
to-
I think we're gonna end up talking to each other in the decent.
I think that
I
might be
think
the
we
case.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This will be very interesting.
Let's get
get
to it.
into it. Well, first, I mean, this is a kind of a newer segment, but we kind of fill in the sliders on Criticless.
Oh, okay.
So we'll go kind of one by one, just kind of group discuss. This is still
Okay.
technically spoiler free, so we're not gonna be like, remember that one scene where
Yeah.
that X happened?
Just an overview.
But
Yeah.
can I say nipples?
No, that's illegal. Highly illegal.
I mean, you can.
Because that's what I'm gonna say for this sexual scene.
That's all you need to say.
Nipples. That's all I would say in my own review. Is this gonna be nipples?
Well, let's start with graphic language. So I think it's only like a bit
Yeah.
Yeah, there was not
at most.
hardly any. I'm trying to think of any graphic language.
Yeah. I mean, historically, my memory for especially like graphic language is terrible.
Oh yeah,
because
I can never recall.
I'm so immune to it at this
Mhm.
point, which is sad. But yeah, I don't think there's anything. There's nothing like really strong. Wait. Yeah, nothing really strong.
Yeah, I normally settle on a bit if I can't remember. Just to be on the safe
That's what I
side.
do. So all of my reviews are just a bit because I'm
Toy
like, who
Story a
wrote
bit.
this? Like, I have no idea. Like, I'm the wrong person to ask about language.
All right, well, here's the easy one. How much violence?
A lot, not a ton, but a lot. What's the in between?
So it's either a lot or a ton.
Okay, so it's a lot.
Yeah, I would
It's
say it's a lot.
yeah, but it's not the maximum.
Even.
You think it's the maximum, or you
what
think
do
it's
you think?
lower?
Well, there is a scene much later in the movie that has to do with maggots.
Dude, that's just a fucking
Yes.
sick scene.
Okay,
And
So in
I
my
don't
mind,
think is it badass.
adding that to it, I think that and all of the vehicular violence that we see, I would have put mine at a ton.
No, because a ton to me is like absolute gratuity, like Saw movie or Hostel. Those are a ton.
So
This doesn't
are you like
reach.
Blaine where you think violence equates gore?
Yes,
See, I don't think violence and gore are the same thing.
I am Blaine standing right now.
Oh, I disagree with
But
you.
I always think that violence equals gore. Like there's maybe a couple movies where I can think of like where I would be like, this is so much implied violence
Yeah.
that I would maybe rate it higher. But I think even with implied violence, I wouldn't do like a ton. It has to, for me, it has to be a ton of gore. Like Hostile.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what do you think, Chris?
I'm kind of on the same boat. So like Okay, so what are the levels with?
So we have a bit more,
Mhm.
a lot, and a ton are the top 3.
Well, you have a bit.
Well, I'm saying the top 3. I think it's in the top 3. I mean, we have none if you want to get technical.
Oh no. No,
Okay.
I'm gonna say a lot. I think
Okay.
a lot is where it should fall. It's in between. So there are bloody scenes. There
Mhm.
is violence. Violence to me is like an action, right? So it's something that happens
We literally
in
see people get shot and have holes in themselves.
Dude, I just saw that
True.
fucking Law and Order episode on cable TV
And that
with a
episode would be a
headshot.
lot.
A
That doesn't
headshot.
Okay, and so you should rate that one as a lot, I guess, because there's a
Listen,
headshot
the
in it.
Law and Order SVU scene with a headshot. I'm traumatized.
She's traumatized from watching Law and Order.
But
All right.
Yeah. So
Next one.
So it is violent. Yeah, I would say a lot.
Okay.
yeah,
I wouldn't say a ton because it's not nonstop.
Well,
There's
since a vote up 2 out of 3, we can just say it's
so
A
the
what did
ton.
you
lower
say?
side. I think it's a ton. Between the way people get shot and things like that,
Mhm.
and the maggots and all that, in my opinion, in my review, I'll say a ton.
So for me, maggots are not violent.
I'm using the maggots as
Agreed.
to speak of gore.
Yes.
I'm talking about
Because
maggots, not to
right.
spoil things,
Yes.
but also point out to a specific scene.
Okay.
That's why I'm adding that. When you're talking gore, it's that scene is gory.
Mhm.
So
Sure.
that's where I'm coming from.
All right.
Know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, I mean, I agree that scene is gory. I think that's like the main gore that we see.
Yeah. It's all revolving around a ligament that I don't want to spoil because
Well,
we're
we
still
can.
in spoiler.
Yeah, that's why I'm
I think
trying to.
ligament is not the right word.
All right. Well, let's not get. I'm homeschooled, so we'll just pretend.
Body parts and
Yeah.
such.
Look, there is a ligament involved in there
There is
somewhere.
a ligament
Yeah.
in there. You're right.
Thank you.
You're right. Okay.
Okay. So next is nudity, sexual content. I would say a bit.
Nipples.
I mean, for me, there's no real sexual content.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing sexually provocative. I mean, sure, they make jokes about nipple clamps.
Mhm.
Spoiler alert, nipple clamps are involved in this movie. But like societally accepted like arousal.
I
A
mean,
sentence I never thought I would say, but it doesn't really hit that mark of just like this is explicitly sexual to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I would go with a bit just for what they were trying to do.
Sure.
So I think a bit.
I'm actually surprised that they didn't go further in some of the scenes because they very easily could have with
Yeah.
Rictus
Oh yeah.
in that one scene.
Hmm.
I'm not gonna
I
say
think they just
more.
try to imply things.
Yeah. I mean, it did not happen, but I thought that there could have been something
Hmm.
that happened.
Yeah, I agree.
So, what about the original movies? Was there a lot of sexual tension or
Oh, there was a lot of
content?
nudity, a lot of people
There
having
was
sex
and
randomly.
there was like rape
Oh,
involved.
there's a scene
Yeah.
where somebody's running and you can tell they've just been raped.
A man is running and you can see that he is bleeding from his anus.
Yeah, clearly.
So, yeah.
You can tell that in the wasteland
Mhm.
of the 70s, he was getting raped.
Yeah, and then his girlfriend was also raped. So that's why I'm like, I'm
They've pulled back
surprised.
so hard. They've tried to make this more family
This
friendly.
to me, this is like a PG-13 version of all of the other Mad Maxes.
Yeah.
Like
Wow.
it feels very tame.
1 and 2 were very graphic.
Yeah.
3 pulled back, and then Fury Road was
Mhm.
like the most tame sexually
Sure. Yeah.
of all of them.
Yeah, because Fury Road could have been really brutal too with the wives, and
Yeah.
it was not at all.
Right.
Yeah.
True.
So
So, all right, next. Political bias.
none.
I would say none.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah, this is one of those ones that's hard. Okay, family friendly.
So hard.
So hard.
It's the hardest one.
So hard.
It has a raging boner of hardness.
So hard.
Mhm.
Family friendly.
Speaking of
Just like our
hard,
show.
Practically child friendly. It's so PG-13ified.
are you
So,
joking,
would
or
you
is that a
say
legitimate?
I would say like what's the not
so
no,
slightly,
but
maybe, very 100%?
I would say slightly,
Yeah. I think I would go more maybe with mine.
like even lower.
No, yeah, in the middle to
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Say maybe. Like I don't think I would take like an 8 or 9-year-old to see this movie,
Yeah.
but I agree with like if you're
Like
12,
a
13,
teenager. A
yeah.
teenager can see this.
Oh,
Yeah, like
agreed.
1,000%.
I can't remember what this
teenager
is
can watch
rated, but
this.
this is definitely teenager friendly.
Yeah.
No, I thought the rest of them were R, right?
This is R.
I would.
This
This
one's
is
R.
not fucking
This
R.
is R.
This is R.
I don't know how it got that rating.
I don't know.
Violence, I guess,
Yeah.
I guess violence. Yeah.
because it's not R in any other capacity, and that is barely R to me. Like I said, Law and Order SVU, fucking shown on primetime TV.
Okay, so what threw me off is that in one of the trailers that we saw,
Mm-hmm.
somebody says, and you can censor this out, hate it for you, but they say motherfucker in one of the trailers for this movie.
Really?
Yeah, I can't remember what movie it was for. Don't quote me on the trailer part of it, but they literally say motherfucker. And I'm just like, if that's not a trailer for this movie, it has to be rated R. Like, and I don't remember seeing a red band. I think that's what they call the trailers that are R
Yeah.
or
Mhm.
something. So it was just really interesting that was in one of the trailers, but I don't think they said really anything as far as language goes within this movie. So do you all remember anything?
I literally don't remember any language.
Yeah.
I don't either.
I have like a foul mouth though, but I it's hard for me to recall that stuff.
Yeah,
but
I don't
Same.
recall that at all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
There we go.
I just don't think there was any real curse words in this at all.
True.
Yeah.
So family friendliness would be at a
slight, maybe.
slight. Yeah.
Or somewhere between slight and maybe due to violence
Yeah.
of some degree. So, all right, cool. Well, then now this is our spoiler review. We will now be discussing anything and everything we want about this movie. All right, so I know going in, we each kind of had a theory about how Furiosa loses her hand. Once again, spoilers.
Yes.
Who wants to go first on their theory and if they were right?
I'll go first.
Okay, since this was Zena's idea, she gets to go first.
Okay, so my theory is that she loses her arm in between two cars in a car crash.
Wow.
And I literally have it written
Whoa.
down in case anyone wants to question me.
Yeah, I have questions because that is specifically specific.
I
but
told
And
Matt
what
too.
happened?
yeah.
Like I told Matt that that's what I was picking also, which is the best part.
She did.
Matt, can you confirm this?
She did tell me that's what she thought was going to happen.
Okay.
We had mildly discussed like a couple of different options,
Mm,
and that was I didn't know that was one she was specifically picking.
yeah.
I had two.
But-
I had two options,
Okay.
but that was my first option, and that's what I went with because I felt like it was the most realistic.
Sure. That
Yeah.
makes sense now
Yeah.
that hindsight.
No, I've seen the movie and
Yeah.
thought about it a little more.
So Matt?
So my thought was that she was going to be building a car and like working her way up the ranks, and like something would crush her arm, and that she was
Yeah.
going to have to like choose to cut it off to further her career
Okay.
and like move up the ranks.
All right.
Okay. That also makes sense. That's logical.
Yeah.
Yeah. That could
Correct.
happen. My thought was that it was dingoes. Just she was like sleeping in the desert and some dingoes ate her baby,
Ah.
kind of a situation. So I was not correct. I was the most wrong, I think, out of all of us.
So my second guess
Mm-hmm.
was it was a birth defect, and this is something that Matt and I like
Okay.
talked about to each other.
Yeah.
And we were like, and I was like, what if it could be that she was born like this
Mhm.
or like something like that? Because Matt said when we were having this discussion about it that it seemed like it was really well healed considering like it's the apocalypse. So I'm
Sure.
like, oh, it
Yeah.
could have been like a birth defect. But
As we learned,
Yeah.
it was because they covered her in maggots
Mm.
and were harvesting maggots
Delicious.
off of her arm.
So
that's
good.
why it was healed so well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a throwback to like ancient
Healing theology.
pharmacology.
Yeah, I mean,
That
maggots are
thing?
still used actually for dead tissue.
True.
Yeah,
In
eat dead
hospitals?
tissues. No.
Right.
I don't think that's still used. I think that was an exaggeration.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. I think that they're still used, not in hospitals though.
Oh yeah.
Not in like
Yeah,
a like a
yeah.
legit
In the bush. In the bush.
Sure. Yeah. Your insurance won't cover
Yeah.
the maggots, but
Actually, where is Sydney when you need her? Because
Right.
this is some wound
let's call her
care
up.
ass shit where she would know this and none of us would know.
Yeah.
She probably like, you guys are all smoking crack. We do not use or suggest maggots as a medical.
Okay, all I can confirm is that in Botched, the TV show about plastic surgery, they use leeches still to this day.
Different case. That's a different animal altogether.
True.
I'm just saying this is where I get my information
Yeah.
from.
Oh, that's fair. MTV's botched. Or is it no, it's Bravo. Right?
I don't remember where it is.
It's one of
Is
those
it
channels.
TLC? It's the Learning Channel.
That is TLC. Holy shit! I forgot that TLC stood for the
Learning. It's
Channel.
because it has the weirdest fucking shit on it now.
Yeah, we don't learn shit anymore.
Like,
on those
is it-
channels.
Isn't that where 600-Pound Life is?
I think so. And BattleBots.
Which-
Both of our
I mean,
favorite shit. Like,
like
yeah.
they're. What about 600-pound robots fighting each other? Why don't we have that show?
We
want
need to
that.
like sell us. This needs to go into bad movie ideas on
Hmm.
Criticless.
That's a
True.
great movie idea. But you're right. We do have a cool group about bad movie ideas. Yeah, you can just kind of have fun, pitch it, talk it through. Fun.
So come join us on Criticless.
True. Yeah, we haven't done a plug for Criticless, but yeah, come check out the website.
Let's just say it a couple more times. Criticless.
What's that about Criticless? I've never heard of this site. What is this magical site you're talking about?
Yeah, criticless.com.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a .comer for sure. We're not
Mm.
.net. We're classy.
good thing we're not .orgs.
Org is pretty classy, but
I don't know.
yeah, .com is better for sure. But so the maggots were the like crux of her becoming better. I mean, I feel like they had so much technology as far as engines and even like,
Microphones.
yeah,
There's fucking microphones
Yeah.
everywhere.
true.
Like, I was like, can we stop with the fucking microphones? Like, he's on the back of a go-kart
Right.
with his microphone.
Yeah, well, because he's the leader. That's the problems we have for microphones.
Yeah.
This is it. This is the problem. No.
I was like, they're both leaders. Of course, they're gonna have microphones.
I
And there's like
mean,
2 microphones.
Yeah. True. There are
There are
limited
2
amount.
leaders.
Yes. 2. Well, there's multiple leaders
Yeah,
for the
well,
different
yeah.
factions. If you want to make bullets, it feels very game-like, as like it's the Bullet Town, the Oil Town, or Goaline. What? It's not gas.
Gas town.
Gasoline.
Ga-
Gas town.
But they call it something else. It's not just like gasoline. It's like gas.
Gasolina.
Gasoline.
Yeah. Do it more. More dancing. But they call it something else. So they have like a little like.
I think they
catchphrase.
do have something. I don't
Yeah.
remember what it is though.
It's already
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Like, gone.
it's a poop for
Yeah.
sure. So, what are y'all's feelings on this? We haven't talked about what
Yeah.
our actual
Yeah, let's
feelings
start
are.
from
We
the
talked
beginning.
about
Yeah.
our projected critic thoughts on this, but what are your actual thoughts, Matt? What did you think about this movie?
I think I yawned 7 times during this movie.
You yawned a fucking lot. Like, it was
I
a
was
lot of
not-
yawns. I was like, can you please stop?
I wasn't tired going into this movie,
Uh-huh.
and I just kept yawning. And I was like,
And your chair was squeaking. It was like
I was a
combination of
disturbance.
things. And then like the icy, it was like,
that was Zena. That was not me.
did you hear the icy? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like,
Everybody in the theater heard the icy. They were probably like, God, that woman in the back with the icy.
yeah, it was there. We were making a lot of noises that just shouldn't have been
But
made.
what I was getting at was I don't know what about this movie was causing me to yawn, but there was something causing me to yawn. So, but overall, the CGI was egregious.
Brother.
Anytime they were focusing on something and there was something going on in the background or the side ground that you had been focusing on, it was CG.
Yeah.
And every time I'd be like, that's CGI. That's CGI. Why is that CGI?
Mhm.
And they kept doing it.
Mhm.
I'm fine with them doing it like once or twice in a movie.
Yeah.
But that was not the case here.
Yeah.
It was, and I went in like the trailer show. It was egregious.
See, I am oblivious a lot of the time
Mhm.
in general. No, to CGI. Like I just don't
Yeah.
like think about it that much because it's in so many freaking things. Like the last thing that I feel like I actively thought about it for was The Flash when it was fucking
Like the
awful.
TV show?
No,
No, the movie.
Oh, I haven't seen
And then you should watch it.
no, you
I will.
hate it. The CGI is the worst I've seen in a movie.
It's legitimately the
Ever?
worst. Yeah, no, it is the worst.
It's worse than the
CGI.
CGI in like the early 2000s.
Yeah, it's really actively bad. So, but the CGI and that, and then the CGI and Black Panther, which if Blaine was here,
Oh god, he would back you up.
it would be like
so
a
hard.
whole
Yeah.
like tangent
Yeah.
about Black Panther CGI. But that's really the last time I remember being like, oh, there's a lot of CGI in this movie. And this movie, I didn't honestly think about it that much. I don't know
Wow.
why.
That's
though.
really surprising.
Yeah, I just didn't. There's just so many scenes, like
With-
widescreen
Yeah.
scenes that's when I'm gonna focus on like the beauty of it
Mhm.
and not all the other rigmarole.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
my problem though, like in those scenes, I would not focus on necessarily what's happening dead middle of the movie, and I would start looking at like the peripheral vehicles, and then I'd be like, CGI, CGI. Why is this all CGI? Like it would
Mhm.
literally like I know these were real vehicles, and they've just added a layer of CGI to them for some reason, and it just kept happening. Like the Volkswagen bus,
Mhm.
with the trailer bus during the shootout at the
Bullet
Bullet
Town.
Bullet Town.
Bullet
Yeah.
Town.
That became CGI all of a sudden, and it wasn't CGI early on.
I legitimately did not even notice that.
It was bad CGI.
Yeah. I noticed it throughout the entire movie. It was from the beginning. They did. I feel like I remember reading something, whether it was like a news article or like a YouTube short or whatever it was that I read, that they were saying that it was like, oh, it's a good blend of like CGI and practical effects.
Hmm.
Motherfucker, I don't remember. There was probably 3 scenes throughout the entire movie that I remember being like practical effect. I'm like, oh, that's somebody on a bike or somebody in
Yeah.
a car, and there's
Okay.
not something green screen involved with it. Like where it
Yeah.
was purely practical effects. There was probably 3 scenes in the entire movie that I'm like, yes, that was it.
Question was one of those scenes, and I said I was gonna bring this up, but I'm gonna say it anyway.
Please,
Was
yeah.
one of those scenes fucking Furiosa's large noggin? Because
I'm sorry. Are you talking about noggin as being her head?
her head when she cuts her hair off at the end of the
Yep.
movie, y'all know I get stuck on wigs.
Sure.
I can't get past wigs.
Yeah.
This has been like my issue
Mhm.
for hundreds of movies.
Uh-huh.
Preach.
Poor Matt, you have to hear about it all the time. But like her head, they either she didn't actually cut her hair and
Right.
they used a ball cap and then they used a really shitty short wig,
Mhm.
or her head is literal CGI because
Mm.
you can't tell me that A, she shaped her head, and B, that her head fucking looks like that. Because
Well,
it is like
I mean,
the weirdest head.
but have you seen her eyeballs?
She's an alien, man.
So,
Like she is an
yeah,
alien.
like-
she looks like an alien.
Her head, like it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility that her head is that shape. if her eyes are that distance.
What I was telling Matt in the car when we were coming over here is her, she has like that really pointy chin and her
Yeah.
eyes come out like this.
hmm
So it's like
the sloth.
it's like this.
Yeah.
With the hair, with the Furiosa, like the signature buzz cut.
Right.
And that's another, don't even get me started about, like, I hate Anya Taylor-Joy for this movie.
Wow.
I did
Okay.
not, and I think that is gonna be a hot take. Like, I think everyone like
Yeah.
sucks her dick, but
Well,
I don't think I like her as a person, I guess.
yeah. A
But
human
I
being.
like her as an actress and other things.
Right.
But I just don't think that she even holds a candle to Charlize Theron, who
Yeah.
is a certified badass.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I think she did a good job. Like that is in my ranking of beefs with this movie. I feel like her portrayal of this character is close to the bottom. I feel like she did a good job. I mean,
I agree with that, I guess.
yeah, I mean, granted, like the majority of the movie, she doesn't speak. So like
Right.
she doesn't have
Right.
to do a lot of verbal acting.
Mhm.
She does portray like the physicality well, I feel like.
She's just so small. Like
Oh my God.
Charlize Theron,
Oh, she is tiny in this movie.
like she has a presence. She doesn't feel small. Like when she stood next to Tom Hardy, she like felt like she held her own.
Right.
Like Anya Taylor-Joy, and like as a big woman, like I appreciate
Mm.
seeing that in a movie.
Yeah.
And like Anya Taylor-Joy feels very petite and small and cute in this movie, and I don't feel like that's what Furiosa is. Like she's like a big, strong, powerhouse badass.
Right. I was actually really blown away as like how well, I don't know if it's just her or if it's the way that they made this movie, but she felt like a preteen. Like whenever they were showing her, and it
Yes.
seemed like it was just her as a human being.
Yeah.
Like whenever before she revealed herself as a woman, she was
Mhm.
still being the like crane operator or whatever
Yeah.
the fuck they called her. But like she was so small and petite, and like she felt like a child still, but it was
Yeah.
still like her, like facially and physically. Like I don't know. I feel like if that was CG or any kind of computer manipulation with it, they did a really good job with that.
hmm
Or even if it was just perspective based, like what they did with Lord
Yeah.
of the Rings or whatever. But I was like, God, she feels like, and even like some of the other movies that she's done, where it's like she's felt like an adult, like
Mhm.
a full grown human being. But in this, she felt 100%
Like a
like
teenager
a
at the beginning.
teenager. Yeah, it was.
I agree.
wild.
I'm guessing they use like forced perspective.
Yeah,
with that.
Yeah. And also, I wonder if she had a body double a couple of the times. I was wondering because they would show her fully from behind.
yeah.
And I was like, oh, I feel like this is a body double, which is kind of annoying that I thought about that in a movie. Like, I
Yeah.
don't feel like we should think about that watching a movie.
Right.
True.
Right. I honestly didn't mind, so I did look it up. And so she was wearing impressive prosthetics for her hair to answer Zena's question and quandaries.
Bitch, I knew that.
But
I
that's because she
knew
literally
didn't
has like an
fucking cut her
alien. It's 'cause
hair.
she has an alien shaped head, and I was like, you have to put your hair somewhere.
She had a ball cap on and then a shitty weird wig. And the problem is like when you do like a really short wig like that,
Mhm.
there's like there's still a hair pattern. And so they just like shoved so much like hair follicles into that wig that it looks unnatural. So like in those scenes, her hair is like nearly black
Yeah.
and then so freakishly thick. Like, and I feel like in Fury Road, Charlize Theron still has like her blonde hair. I mean, she's like a natural blonde. So the fact that they made like Anya Taylor-Joy so like have such dark hair
Mhm.
was
Right.
also kind of weird.
Yeah.
I did not notice it at all. Did you, Chris?
Not at all.
Oh.
No.
I mean,
it's
I'm not
Zena picks up on
it
something.
I
felt
like
very natural.
think about that stuff. I hate seeing that stuff like that, and
That's
it just
interesting.
immediately just
Yeah.
ugh.
Yeah.
I
Well,
hate
I
it.
wanted to talk about some things I liked about the movie,
Yeah.
and then we can talk about some more things that we didn't like about the movie. Um, let's see, what did I like about the movie? I did like them building the rig
Yeah.
because no Mad
Yeah.
Max has ever shown that.
Mhm.
We've
Right.
never seen the building of a rig. So that was cool to see, and that was a very opulent rig.
True.
It is
Yeah.
not the rig from Fury Road,
The rig was bad.
but that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
It
what
was.
else?
It's also interesting. Like it kind of builds the backstory with the whole like chrome shiny from Fury
Yes,
Road,
yes.
which like one of my beefs with this though is like this movie should have been called Fury Road because it was literally about them riding on Fury Road.
Yeah.
Like why wasn't this called Fury Road and make Furiosa? I mean, I understand like this was about the story of Furiosa, but
hmm
the vast majority of it I feel like was focused on Fury Road. At least that was like her start to her saga, right? It was
Yeah.
like joining up with Tom Cruise Australian man. Like it was he was just like, okay, can we also one of my biggest gripes with this is
Chris Hemsworth. I don't
no 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 no
No, the
no
love
the guy
interest,
who's
Tom Burke.
writing
Praetorian Jack, aka Tom Burke.
Tom Burke. Okay, so
Where are we going with this?
no, so like okay, so I don't understand where genealogy works in this. Like where some people can be the most psychotic, flesh human eating psychopaths,
Mhm.
and then there's people who are just like, oh, I grew up in a posh family and I just drive a tractor. Like, why
Yeah.
was he so fucking normal and had like empathy and like normal human
Right.
reactions?
Yeah.
Whereas everybody else was like, I'm going to eat your eyeballs out of your face. Like,
And literally eat human sausage.
right. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't make. Maybe, I mean, y'all have seen more of the movies than I have. So I don't know the lore to that
There's
extent.
not. That's something actually that I've been like wondering too, and there's not any really like we don't really have like a timeline.
Yeah.
The only timeline we have
Like,
is that Mad Max
hmm
or Max himself.
hmm
It was probably in his mid 20s in the first movie, if I had to guess.
yeah,
So, and I don't think he's in his 50s
Okay.
in the Fury Road. I would say he's probably in his 40s. So this is like a 20 to 30 year max.
Right. Mad. It's mad.
Span of time. So honestly, it's just like, I mean, I guess there is like radiation where people are all like
Yeah.
messed up from radiation because there is that scene in
they talk about it
Thunderdome.
at the beginning of this too, where they say the soil is poisoned and
Right,
Right.
right. And there's
Yeah.
radiated water, so everyone's becoming irradiated. But in the first two movies, everyone's normal. It's just gangs
Sure.
out in the wild.
Right.
It's not irradiated people.
Right. And they talk about, like you said, they talk about at the beginning of this where like Half-Life
Mhm.
kicks in or whatever. So like, sure, I can understand that, but why doesn't it affect everybody? Like, where are these like mutants? I would call normal people mutants in this case, to where like
Mhm.
she was not a Half-Life and everybody was like, oh, she's got perfect teeth and great
Mhm.
fingernails and whatever. But like, she wasn't any more special than
Chris Hemsworth.
Praetor
Praetorian Jack.
Jack or whatever his name was, or even any of the like elder people, which elder people, sure, I understand. Like
Yeah, they should be.
they were already alive and had
Mhm.
reached that point. But like,
I think that was the thing though. She was a young one,
yeah,
and they were like, "Oh,
right.
you're fine." Because I mean, that was cool how we did see the birth of one of the mutants, and they had like 5 legs
Right.
and multiple arms.
Yeah, it was like
And
a
I was like,
Siamese
okay, that's
twin
cool
Yeah.
to
situation.
see because we knew
Yeah.
in Fury Road, like he was like, "Oh, this would have been your viable human."
Right.
hmm
So I appreciate that. And I think that's what they were trying to like give you and to connect.
hmm
And you kind of have to have seen some of the other ones to really kind of put it together, I guess.
Yeah.
But they never explicitly say.
Okay.
Well, that's kind of the problem with the Mad Maxes, I think, overall, is like the first Mad Max, you have literally nothing to go off of.
Sure.
Like, there's no backstory. You're just thrown into the wolves to figure
Right.
out what's happening. And then Mad Max 2, you get more backstory. And then Mad Max 3 is just garbage. And then you get Fury Road, which you have like a little bit more backstory. So this is like the most backstory that we've ever had.
Right.
And I still feel like it's not that like well thought out. It's good for her,
Mhm.
but for like the overall wasteland,
Yeah.
it's not good because we still don't really know like why that happened to the green place.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
because
know,
I don't know if you remember, Chris, but in Fury Road, the green place has become a quagmire. It's basically just swampland. And they
I
never
don't
said what
remember.
happened. They just kind of say, "Oh, it's the soil turned bad and we had to leave,"
Hmm.
is all they
Yeah.
kind of
Okay.
say. And that's the only reference to it. So,
And I thought like I was thinking in this we would have like kind of a resolution for why the green place was as it was. Not that oh my god, how the fuck do you say it? Furiosa
we
would know,
Guy
but
Fieri. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Flavor Town.
exactly. Not that she would know, but I thought that we would hear someone talking about it, like
Right.
just like somewhere in the background.
Mhm.
So we'd be like, oh,
Well,
Chris Hemsworth, the dude, fucked it up because he is an idiot or
Right.
something, you know?
Yeah.
to counter that, a lot of the Mad Max movies are being told as legends after the fact, right? And so this one is
Yeah.
also, so the narrator who's telling this entire story, I think, didn't know that. Didn't know what happened because Furiosa doesn't know what happens to it
Yeah.
until the next movie.
Well, and it's so vague
Right. So I
what
think it's
they
just the
tell her.
narrator didn't know,
Yeah.
so we don't know, which
Yeah.
might also explain some of the embellishments and the love story and some things. Like another beef or a beef I had with this movie was, how did Furiosa escape? In the scene when they're both captured, her and
Mm.
Jack are captured,
Yeah.
and Jack's being dragged around, and like the dogs are eating him, and
Yeah.
there's a circle of motorcycles. How did she
A perfect circle.
escape? Oh, it was just like so many bikes. It was a perfect circle.
Yeah. No,
She
I
escapes,
wasn't exaggerating.
grabs a bike,
Yeah.
and gets away with nobody noticing.
I thought that like it was more like the scavengers found her.
No, whenever she actually
No, no,
escaped.
no.
So like they were doing the circle of doom and he was being dragged by the motorcycle going
Yeah.
counterclockwise.
She
So
just like passes out and wakes up.
No, they both have her. That's like when she cuts her arm off,
Yeah.
and she's
yeah.
hanging like this. And then the next time we see her, she's on a motorcycle driving away.
I don't remember that at all.
No, but I completely agree with you, Matt. Like because there's a huge gap in like they were completely
How did she get
circling.
in the maggot place?
That
She
was
passes out, and then they find her.
Okay.
Yeah,
Before
yeah.
that, before the
That
maggot
was it was
place.
before that. Yeah, so
Okay.
they're dragging Jack in a circle, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
Behind the bike, and they have all the other bikes going in a counter to what the circle that they're
Yeah,
going
it's
in.
like a big Death Star.
Right. So it's a perfect circle, not the band of motorcycle dirt bikes.
I think they just literally left her. That was what I thought.
No,
But
because
she
no, they didn't,
literally
though.
got on a bike, and the next scene shows her not that far away from the group. Like they
I
were.
repressed that because it was so stupid, I guess.
I mean, that's because literally, because
That's fair.
It's just like, this didn't
Dementis
happen.
literally gets up off the hood of the truck, and was like, "All right, let's go." And they like go around the back of the truck, and her hand's just there, and her hand's just hanging. And then he's like, "Oh, we got to go after her." And they go to drive, and his wheel falls off because she wrapped the chain around the axle or something.
Yep.
And then it shows her riding her motorcycle, just kind of,
Mhm.
and then she passes out, and then the scavengers find her, and then she wakes up with maggots on her arm.
Yeah. It's a real big plot hole as
Mhm.
far as like how she got a bike,
Mm-hmm.
first of all, and then also how she got out of the bike circle. And like, can you imagine being these people in this gang? I just want you to I want you to drive in a circle for hours, like from sunup till sundown. Like it wasn't from the beginning of the day, but like it was hours. that they were driving in a circle. Can you imagine riding in a circle on a dirt bike for hours? I would vomit everywhere. So maybe that's why they didn't know.
gas.
That's
Gas.
another thing that annoys
True.
me. It's
And
like
he's
gas
just
is
like
important.
dumping gas everywhere.
Well, they did have control of Gastown.
Yeah, I'm just like, I wish I think my issue with the gas situation is that they could have been like, he ran out of gas, and that's why he was a failure at running Gastown. But they just didn't. I don't know.
He
I
was
don't
just
know if he actually was a failure at running Gastown, though.
he was.
I
It
think
was
that was
implied. It was like
no.
really implied.
It,
Right.
it was it was his leadership abilities were not on point at all. So it he wasn't able to keep the culture going.
See, it was a fake where he faked it out.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that was his most of his persona was just pretending to be the leader that he was supposed to be. But
I want to talk about Dementis is monster
Mhm.
truck.
Ooh, yeah.
Because the monster truck was fucking sick. It's like the way it's used as like a rock climber up the dude, really well done. That was probably my favorite part.
I
Besides
appreciate,
like her big rig,
yeah, I appreciate the like 6 wheels. I don't know why
Yeah.
it reminds me of working at a church camp where we had one of the gators, which has six
Oh,
wheels.
yeah.
Yeah, so it gave me that feel. But I do like how beefy it was. It was good. Yeah.
Yeah. The tires were great on it. Like it felt real.
It was cool seeing a 6-wheel monster truck.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen one of those in my life. I don't know why somebody else hasn't done that before. Now, what
True.
I didn't like was
Okay.
how it was a freaking like battering ram and it like took down the fence at the bullet
Oh,
farm.
I could
Sure.
feel your eye roll. You literally were like,
Yes.
ugh,
I
like
was.
eye roll
It
at that
didn't make any
scene.
sense. It was this big iron gate, and this monster truck somehow was able to knock it
Well, it just like
down.
falls from the top like down. Like it didn't even make sense how it fell. No, I mean I understand your beef with it, but it was just hilarious. I knew you had a problem with it immediately.
Yeah. It's a big plot hole. I mean, there's lots of plot holes in this, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's 100% what did y'all think about Chris Hemsworth's performance in this? Did you enjoy his character or was it lackluster? What did you think?
I actually really liked him in this. And I can't tell from y'all's faces if that's a hot take or not. But
Oh, we'll see.
Never know.
liked him. I thought that his weird little high pitched actual Aussie accent that he never has,
His actual
um,
accent.
yeah, is like, you know, interesting to see for once.
Yeah.
But the nose,
It was
know,
extra big, wasn't it? They
everyone,
added a huge prosthetic to his
yeah,
nose.
which
Oh,
that
yeah.
was real and that was not CGI.
That was a
Oh,
haunt.
the
FYI.
prosthetic. I thought you meant his actual nose.
They
That big.
CGI'd in every other
Yeah.
movie.
So Matt, what did you think? Did you enjoy his performance?
I think he was one of the most likable characters
Oh,
in the
yes.
Okay.
series.
Yeah.
I think there was something missing.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. There was something missing. I don't think it was his performance. I think it was something to do with the writing.
I think the thought that I had while we were watching it is that they pulled back on whatever that character would have been because of Thor.
Mm. They thought it would be too much of like an overlap as
Yep.
character
I
goes.
think that was the vibe that I got because he's a showman. I mean, and the part that is different is that he's supposed to be smarter than Thor because he has like this wise man and he knows all these big words
Sure.
and he's
Yeah.
actively using the big words correctly.
Yeah.
And but I felt like he also was goofy
Mhm.
in that Thor Ragnarok kind of way.
Yeah.
And I could see that have been being played up if he hadn't been Thor already
Sure.
or like that character already. but
Yeah.
they clearly
Mhm.
pulled back in some kind of way, I think.
I'll add to that. I also wish, and I think where they pulled back was on his amount of like goriness
Mhm.
in this
Okay.
wasteland. Like if they had added like where he actually seemed more insane
Right.
Yeah.
kind of deal, and they kind of did that when they're like, oh, you got to pull these people, this one guy apart.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's pretty insane, but it just felt like that wasn't portrayed anywhere else,
Right.
and I really wanted that
Well,
somewhere else.
he turns on his men
Mhm.
and he's like, we have to make it look real. And it's
Those weren't his
almost
men,
like,
thankfully. That was like the other leader he had brought into his group.
Yeah.
well,
Eight
but
guns.
I think it was like, I think that the problem is we saw him act like that for the first time in that scene,
Mm-hmm.
and we didn't really see it again, but it was like a betrayal in that scene of what maybe he had been like, and he was kinder to Furiosa, so maybe he did start as a benevolent Jared Leto kind of leader.
Jared
But
Leto. All right. Yeah, for me, it was a very interesting progression for his character. Like I started off not enjoying his character. I felt like he was really like I don't know, like limp. Like it didn't feel like he was fully invested in the character, and it was lackluster in my but as the movie went along, like he really it became that character, it felt like, and I felt like it was actually an independent feeling,
Hmm.
an individual, like whereas in the beginning it didn't feel unique.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like they actually did that on purpose, just to give the the filmmakers some credit here. But I feel like his story arc was really well done. And even in like what you were talking about, Zena, as far as like where they didn't, or maybe it was you, Matt. It was where they weren't portraying like his harshity. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's not a word, but uh,
It is.
I'm
Harshity.
making it a word. His ability to be cruel was very it was tempered. Like there were certain times where he was just like, "Yeah, you got to fucking rip these people in
Yep.
half, and we're gonna pull you apart with
And you're
multiple
getting
vehicles."
soft if you don't.
Right.
Like he says that in
Right.
one of the
Yeah.
scenes. Yeah.
But then there's times where you see him like, and I feel like even in that where we were talking about just a few minutes ago, where the circling bikes, to where it cuts to him and the sun has set, and so you know that like they've been dragging Jack for hours,
Mm-hmm.
and where like he's sitting on the hood of his car and he's kind of like antsy, like you can tell that there's something going on where he's just like he's done with that part.
Yeah.
And whether or not that like gives him credit for being compassionate, which I don't think it does, but I feel like there is kind of like the subtlest of quarries within him, to where he's like battling, trying to be this badass, where in reality he's just nobody. He's just a regular person with depression who doesn't feel anything. Like so he doesn't have like strong emotions for anything, but he's trying to portray this leader,
Mm-hmm.
badass, I will gut somebody, like that kind of persona. And I feel like it's kind of like maybe this is just me overreaching within the movie and what I picked up, but it felt like that character, they had it to where he was battling with himself between, you know, being somebody who was a real badass and
Mm-hmm.
somebody who was just like, I'm sick of all this shit. All I want to do is just be a leader. I want to be respected. That's all he
Mm-hmm.
wants in life, is just to be
But he wasn't a good leader.
right.
Was how it came across.
Yeah.
I still think that was a ploy,
Yeah.
but because later on, I mean,
Mhm.
he leads this whole army, and he's like, "We got Bullet Town now. Now we're gonna like secretly sneak across and try to take the Citadel." So I still feel like that was a ploy of him being a bad leader.
Yeah.
Um, what did you think? So with all of that, at the very end,
Hmm.
when it's him and Furiosa, and Furiosa's got him,
Yeah.
and he's just like on the ground, like whimpering and like begging and doing all that stuff.
He doesn't whimper or beg.
Yeah. Neither of those things.
When
That's
he lays
actually
literally on the ground, it's like, I'm begging at your feet, which he literally says.
Did we
I'm
watch another movie?
I
No,
feel
he literally lays on the sand and it's like, I'm at your feet.
okay, so yes, he does like lay down and say like I'm defeated, like he knows he's done.
Yeah,
But
it's
he doesn't care. Like that's
yeah.
just a thing of like he's done with playing the game
Mhm.
of just like where he would move forward towards the vehicle and she would back up. Like
Yeah.
he was just like, okay, I'm done with this game.
Right.
Like yes, you have me. I don't care. Like there's no way for me to win this. But it wasn't. I don't think that he cares about it.
Mhm.
And correct
You-
me if I'm wrong. I feel like Zena, we're on the same boat here, where he's like, he doesn't care about living. That's where I brought up like the depression.
Oh, yeah.
Like he doesn't
Yeah.
care at all about anything.
I think he's like, go ahead and fucking kill me. I don't care.
Yeah,
Like
he wanted
he
it.
basically was like, you can shoot me in the head, you can make me suffer, literally anything. It's not going to change anything that I've already done.
Yeah.
I mean, he
was
Yeah.
literally
it's just like,
giving
this is how it
her
is.
recommendations on how to torture him
Right.
Yeah.
better. So like, you are correct that he did do the like bowing into the sand and saying yes you won, but it wasn't in the way of him giving up. It was in the I mean it was him giving up, but it was him giving
But not
up
like
in,
whimpering
because
and being like begging for life.
Right.
It was the, hey, okay, you got me. It's over.
Yeah,
Go ahead
like-
and finish me.
Like,
he was
you win
sick of
this
it.
round, whatever.
right, he was
Yeah.
just
It was
tired of playing a
apathetic.
game.
It was apathetic.
There we
Yeah.
go, that's a good
Okay.
yeah.
So then to follow that up, as it ended,
Hmm.
they're like, oh, well, it could be any 5 of these possible endings.
Which leads to all of Mad
Oh.
Max being a campfire story.
Right. Because the whole Mad Max franchise
Aw.
is campfire stories.
Okay.
Per George Miller. There's like some interview somewhere.
Well, what does George Miller know? He doesn't know anything.
Right.
That
He has
the only
no
thing
idea.
he knows is that he's Frank Miller's dad.
Canon. It's
Canon.
facts.
But so like we get at the very end, it's like, oh, well, some people say this, some people say that.
Mhm.
And then it ends with, well, actually, I was told
This is what she whispered to me.
that he is part of a tree, growing a tree
True.
out of his
Which
body.
I
Right.
fucking love that
I do
she
as well.
puts the peach pit in his body and it
Yeah.
grows a peach and she's sharing these peaches and
Is that possible?
I mean,
Could that
Jinx.
be a real thing?
Chris, we're just the same person. We're just like two
Yeah.
bookends over here.
Yeah.
I think so. Like, I mean, I think if you put some dirt, you like cut someone open, you maintain their like vital organs, and you put some dirt in their like abdomen cavity.
Yeah.
I think you can do it.
100%.
And now I'm like, maybe we should try.
I want to grow a fucking plant out of my dick.
So,
So that's kind of what I thought
I
was
mean,
happening
one
whenever she.
side note, not
Yeah, go
about
ahead.
that or the psychology behind that, but there is that cremation website that does, it's like plant pods or whatever,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
can like
Yeah.
put your body in a pod and become a tree.
Sure.
Yep.
So that's
Which
what's
is gonna happen to me.
That's what he did
Well, I'm going to be shot into space, but also
with
just
your
a-
dick.
just my dick is
Yeah.
going to go into space. But
just the dick floating.
yeah. It's really small. It's going to cost nothing.
Just a little shrimp.
But a little insight into my familiar history here is so whenever I was born, I was a home birth. So I was born in my great grandfather's grandparents' house in Albemarle.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was a home birth. I was homeschooled. I was home everything. I'm a homebody now.
Mm.
It all makes sense,
That's
really.
cool as fuck.
Thank you. But my mom planted my placenta into the ground and put a tree on top of it. And that was in my yard growing up for my entire, until I was in my 20s. The tree was dead. It never grew anything. This tree produced 0 fruit. So it was just a stick and my placenta was in the ground. Anyways, I don't know where I was going with this.
So
Besides
the story says that's not
Did
possible.
she eat your placenta? I feel like
no, she planted it. I literally just
did,
told
like,
her
in a little
that it
A
was.
little sliver of it.
because that's like pretty common now. Is like I'm just
There
she
could be
seem-
fafa beans involved.
She seems very like hippie, which I'm here
was.
for.
She's
And
literally done none of that shit. She's never smoked a cigarette. She's never done weed. She's like an angel. So, and she's my mom, and she's great. I know,
we love
sweet,
Chris's mom.
but she's psychotic and she's cray, and she will fall for any scam because she's the most gullible, trusting, precious person ever. But where was I even going with this?
I think we were just talking about growing bodies out of, or growing trees out of bodies.
Right. Yes. Okay. So
maybe
100%.
not could happen in real life, for
Yeah.
example. I don't know.
It might not be fruitful, but you could definitely do it. Like from his a personal experience of growing a tree from a
Dude,
human.
Can we just talk about though that end scene with him, with the tree growing out of him?
Mhm.
Beautiful.
That was the best fucking
Love it.
scene of the whole
Yeah.
movie. Like,
So good.
legitimately, I was like, oh shit,
Yeah.
I really like this. And if the movie would
Yeah.
have been like this the whole time, like just chef's kiss.
Yeah.
So how did y'all feel about the cinematography as far as, I feel like they were doing an homage, which I think you could speak more to because you've seen the older movies more recently, but
Mhm.
the sped up
Yep.
cinematography, like it triggered I was like, I hate this, but I feel like it's just an homage to the older movies. Is this correct?
We're the same person.
So
Groovy.
to
Love it.
to add to what Zena's
All right,
saying
thank
right now, literally yesterday,
Yeah.
while we're watching Fury Road, she was like, I hate the sped up cinematography.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, Zena, they literally do this in every movie. And she's like, I don't remember any of this.
Okay, well, this also like is a testament to me not remembering like a large
Yeah.
portion of Furiosa.
I mean, hey, same here.
But I mean, yes, it is a homage
Yeah.
to several like previous things that have
Mhm.
been
Yeah.
done. Honestly, my problem though with them trying to do like little throwback cinematography vibes to previous ones
Yeah.
is we've had some epic badass shots of Max like riding his badass vehicle, like with the dust flowing up behind him, and it's like a pink sky specifically from Mad Max 2,
Mhm.
which is like my
The
favorite
best
scene ever.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but it happens in multiple other movies, and in Fury Road you get the really awesome fight scene where you have the drummer and the guitar and you're seeing like all of them come
Right.
out to fight.
Right.
And it's like we do see the motorcycles kind of, but there's something, and I hope my dad never listens or watches this. But like as someone that loves motorcycles and grew up around them, this is my disclaimer. Uh like I feel like they weren't as cool in this as they could have been. And
You know
like the
why?
cars were cooler.
Do you know why the motorcycles weren't as cool? Because 99% of them were CGI. Everything was fucking computer generated. I feel like it was a copy and paste with fucking PowerPoint or whatever, the Adobe whatever shit.
Yeah.
It was they were like, yeah, we're gonna use real motorcycles, but we're
Dirt
gonna
bike.
like
Like we're gonna use dirt bikes.
yeah, dual sports, and we're gonna
Everything.
cut them out and we're gonna put them behind a green screen, and then we'll just do it. That way, it's like it's real shit, but it's green screen. But it's so bad. I hate it so much. There was so many bad CGI shit in this. It ruins the entire movie for me. Like even in like you can put all of the story, character development, anything aside, like the CGI in this movie was so dog shit.
Yeah.
It killed all of the menage a trois behind it. It was just so bad. I don't know.
Which blows
Yes.
my mind
The
because
threesome behind it.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Menage a trois, obviously. Like it's the yeah. Yeah.
Okay, Matt, we've been talking for forever. What is
so
your
what I want to add to that was
yeah
we just watched Fury Road like yesterday.
last night?
Last night. And
24
none
hours
of it,
ago.
like there isn't that. Yes, there's CGI in it, but
Right.
it's almost all real vehicles
Right.
in the desert.
Yep.
The CGI is far and few in between.
Mhm.
And then this movie, they were just like, oh, well, we're just gonna CGI it because. And you're
Yeah.
right. Like, even if it was real with a real backdrop, they added like a layer of CGI or something over it to give it a film or a
Yeah.
feel.
It was
And it
real
felt
obvious.
fake.
What
Yeah.
about okay, we already talked about the scene, but I didn't mention the sound.
Oh.
The
Oh my
sound
god.
was
Thank you.
fucked up
Yeah.
in that scene. Okay,
All of it.
let me
So-
let me
okay.
rewind.
Yes.
The scene was
Dot dot dot.
when Furiosa has finally got Dementus in her grasp and he's begging for his life.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
When she starts talking to him and explaining who she is, the sound is awful. And I need someone that has seen this to confirm or deny that this was our movie theater, which I don't think, because the rest of the movie I thought was okay.
Well,
think it
see,
was our
that's the thing.
theater?
My thing, I wasn't even going to comment on that portion of it. My portion of it was when they were in the ghetto rig, not ghetto rig, but like the pimp rig, rather. Like,
Okay. Yeah.
so there's a part of that where we're
Hashtag
like
cancel.
pimp ghetto, whatever. Like, it's fine. It's a dope ass vehicle wherever they're driving, and it's Jack and her,
Mhm.
and it's the whole fight scene. And there's a part of it where like it goes muted. Maybe it's I have shit ass hearing, so I cannot trust my judgment on it. But there was a part where like everything is muted. Like there's no like bass
Engine
behind it.
sound, no background.
Nothing. It's just like her like it's whenever she's like trying to take over, whenever she's helping Jack, whenever that first trip,
The
whenever they
first
show.
time when
Yeah.
she's like puts a gun in his
Yeah.
face.
Right.
I
Yes.
think that was purposeful because
do
it
too.
was like focused
Yes.
on
Yeah.
her, and like you're meant to be like in her mind,
Right.
and just absolutely zoned in on what you're supposed to be doing
Right.
to like protect the rig,
Yeah.
Mhm.
because well, for her own security.
Was it off-putting to you? Because for me, it felt opposite of what it should be. Like I have sensitive hearing, as I've discussed many times.
Uh-huh.
So I don't like really loud noises or jump scares or like all that shit. But this was like the opposite direction, to where it was just like it was an action scene in there was no umph behind it because
Mhm.
of the sound. And so it threw me off. Like I'm here we go again with the dichotomy, but I want there to be enough sound to where it has an impact, but not so much to where it's just like make your ears bleed kind of situation. Did y'all pick up on that at all, or am I alone in this?
I mean, I heard it. I know
Yeah.
we were talking about. I think it was meant to be a really sobering scene. It's where
Mhm.
she has to realize who she's gonna be, and that
Yeah.
she has to do this on her own, or that's like her thought at the time. And then our poor little dude with his cabbages dies.
No.
It
Yeah.
was the most pointless character.
Oh, I was devastated.
They
I
were
was
just like, here
utterly
is this
devastated.
little like dwarf half-lifer.
Dude, he was precious
War boy.
though. Like I don't know
And
what was
there
so
was just,
endearing
like-
about him.
It was just because he was like comedic, I think.
Yeah.
Where they were just like, here, we're gonna put you in here. And he keeps popping up like a little gopher, being like, do I do it now? Do I do it?
I want this.
And then they close it on him. And they're like, no, not yet, not yet. And then the chance he gets to do it, he dies.
Yeah.
Instead of doing like the one thing he was there to do.
It's so sad. It breaks my heart. Like I was just devastated, and he was just laying in there with his cabbages.
Not his cabbages.
My cabbages. Which, Chris, I don't know if you heard
Oh
me say
no,
that.
I am well aware. I've watched all of Avatar. So
Well,
I've,
I leaned over to Matt in the theater and was like, "My
Oh.
cabbages."
I didn't hear that. no.
Oh,
I was on my own in my own little island, but
with that other man.
yes, which was infatuated with his popcorn. Like, I don't know how you guys
He
eat
was
popcorn.
sexually.
Wait, what?
No. He would only he ate his popcorn every 20 minutes. He would take one kernel out every 20 minutes.
Oh,
This
right.
motherfucker was a psychotic.
That's strange.
I was thinking I was going to get murdered. But anyways, it was, yeah, the little man.
Yeah.
Also, speaking about sound, I know we don't need to go on this too much longer, but
Sure.
the
It's a little
sound,
longer.
yeah, the sound on this, it was very odd to me. The way that the audio was handled, it felt, I don't know, it was so weird. Like there were so many times where there was very quiet. Maybe it was where we were in the theater, because we were
It
in
could
the
be 'cause we're in the very back.
very back, and
Well,
I
so
have
that's
not been in the very back since I got my dick sucked in high school, and that was why I went to the movies.
Mm.
This is all fake. I've never had that happen in my life, but I wanted it
no dick
to.
sucking for
Yeah,
Chris. None
no,
at all.
no,
Not in the theater.
please don't. I don't want it. But it was the sound on this was it felt so weird. Like there was parts where it was really quiet. Do you think that it was the movie theater, or do you think it was the movie?
That was my question.
I feel like
Yeah.
it was done on purpose.
Okay.
Maybe not the part that Zena and I were discussing earlier. but at the
That
very
fucking
end,
sucked. I don't know what that
where
was.
that was just like bad audio.
Yeah.
It sounded like
Like
in a tin can or
dual,
something.
two
Yeah.
microphones at the same time.
Yeah,
like,
it was just
not
something
good.
weird about that audio that was
Right.
just off. It should have been crystal clear. It should have been like a very like this is clear statements being made, and
Mhm.
it wasn't. So
It
I think
really
there was some
took me out of
problems.
that scene. I think, and I just want to talk about that scene really quick. Again, I know we kind of mentioned it already, but I feel like that really ruined my life. And I think that it could have been handled more. Like they pulled it together with the very end scene with him being in the tree.
Yeah.
But the whole conversation that Furiosa has with him doesn't seem very Furiosa to me. Like, I don't
Right.
feel like there needed to be any words said. I don't feel like she needed to even fucking cry. Like, and not saying that you can't cry. I think that's fine.
Mhm.
But I just think that for her character, she didn't need to do any of that.
Right.
She needed to put chains around him, which is what I thought was going to happen. I thought
Right.
she was going to chain his ass up
Mhm.
and drag him back, whatever is left of him.
Yeah.
Then that's what you put in the tree.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it was just like it was this weird, like drawn out half conversation. It
Yeah.
just didn't feel
And
Furiosa to me.
I also feel like that was like the Hemsworth problem. It was something like with his dialogue, like his
Yeah.
responses just were like, okay, whatever, okay, whatever.
It's I feel you for the first
Mm.
part of this movie.
Yeah,
I was feeling your leg
yeah,
the
yeah.
entire
Mhm.
time.
Zena
Um,
didn't even notice.
I know. But I felt the same way about Hemsworth. Like I felt like he was so it felt fake. It felt like acting for
Yeah.
the first part of the movie, at least the first half of it. But I really honestly felt so much more attached to him as it went along.
Hmm.
And I think that ending dialogue and interaction between him and Furiosa.
Ambrosia.
Yeah,
Furious.
I'm just
OSHA.
gonna leave it there. I'm not gonna correct it. Furiosa.
We are struggling with her name today.
Furiosa. I felt like that was
It's
it was-
not Furiosa, it's Furiosa.
Jesus.
Which Chris
You're
doesn't even know what
such
that's
a
from.
fucking nerd. Jesus.
You only know it's
All
nerdy.
right.
You probably couldn't even say what it's from.
Well, he can't.
Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings. Hold on, wait, nope. I got it. Hold on. It's Harry Potter, and
Okay.
it's terrible. Okay, so but I feel like they really vindicated him as it went along. I really like his character at the end of the movie. At the beginning of the movie, I hated him, and the character that he portrayed, it felt so fake and like just very actory. But as it ended, like who he was really came to fruition. And I don't know, that's just me speaking from my personal
Mm-hmm.
thought of this. I really liked Chris Hemsworth's character at the end of this. Everything before that, I didn't enjoy.
Okay.
But it really came together at the end. And I don't know. Maybe it's just because I can relate to the whole like depression, not feeling anything
Sure.
situation. But yeah, I don't know. I like that portion.
Yeah.
Of it.
Okay. That's fair.
Chris, I'm gonna write down a note that you need to give Chris a hug when this ends.
Yeah. All right. Hey,
Noted.
look, I'll take a hug.
But something I just thought about was, did we ever confirm how Furiosa gets her arm ripped off?
Oh shit!
Because
Well, yeah,
I was right.
I thought I said that.
You were 100%.
But we didn't like go into it because it was
Yeah.
I was
well,
right for the
technically,
beginning,
you're
but not.
wrong.
That's what I'm saying. Like so her arm
Technically.
gets crushed, like I
Yes.
said,
between two vehicles.
but it doesn't
But-
between two vehicles, but
but-
it doesn't get fully amputated at that moment.
She loses her arm because she was dangling by it.
Yep.
So she either cut it off herself
She did 100%.
or it just fell,
No, she cut it off
tore off. How'd she cut it off?
with twisting.
That's metal.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'd
no.
be metal as hell.
Okay, so how would you break your arm? So this is also
So
like
it
a
was
100
broken.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm
100%.
assuming. I wish it had shown more
It
gore.
had the bone, so the bone was sticking out
Mhm.
when they pull her out of the
Pretty
wreckage.
gory.
Because I was like,
Not
oh,
violence.
shit. Like I like punched Matt like
Did.
when it happened because I was like, I'm fucking right. And then so I was looking to see if I was 100% right when they drug her out of the
Yeah.
wreckage, and she still had her fucking arm, but it was a compound fracture.
It was it. I feel like she did like a twisty twirly.
Like a gator
Yeah.
twist.
While nobody was watching.
Exactly.
She did a gator roll.
Yeah.
To like
Okay.
tear off her arm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it is just tearing all the
Everything.
ligaments.
Ligaments.
Here's the ligaments. We're
Mhm.
back full circle to
Ooh,
ligaments. and
yeah.
how ligaments play
Yeah.
into.
Look, they're a part of the
Yeah.
body, so
They're there.
we
They're
can't
there.
ignore them. So, yeah. Do you think that was good, or are you okay with her losing her arm that way? Okay, so okay. Obviously, Zena was 100% the most close.
Yeah, she was probably 70%. That's what I would
What?
say.
Okay.
70% close. We were way off.
I was.
You were 0%.
I was a fucking.
I was 0%.
I was a dang.
Zeno was 70%
Mhm.
because who would
Mhm.
guess arm lost by dangling?
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's a
Well,
whole
yeah,
other thing.
true.
So
Yeah, well, okay, but the reason that her arm was in the dangling position was because of a
Okay.
vehicle to vehicle.
I just pulled out my notes,
Yes.
and this is what I said. Furiosa loses her arm by getting it stuck between two vehicles and chopping it off herself.
Probably happened.
Mm.
I would wager.
Like it
You
is.
guys were just saying though that she did it by twisting her arm and not
I don't
chopping.
know. So I'm actually
my God.
closer than I thought.
I'll give you an 85%.
Yeah.
I'm giving you a fucking 99%.
Oof.
That is
No.
close enough.
No.
There is no. I said it literally a dingo ate her arm.
Yeah,
Just because you were
So-
that far wrong doesn't mean
You did.
anything.
And you did it in like a not good Australian accent.
A dingo ate your baby.
I
That's
think
All right.
it's like
really
Cockney.
Yep.
All
yep.
right. All
That's
right.
so we.
Wait,
hold on,
we have
hold
to
on.
talk to old. I
We
miss
have-
good movies.
Well,
he's-
yeah.
He's gonna
Shout out
be
to
like,
Miss
"What
Good
the
Movies,
fuck
our
are y'all doing?"
Australian expert.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Wait, hold on. So, I miss good movies. Is this a good? A dango ate my baby. That's
He's gonna be like,
Australian,
"Fucking
right?
no, dude."
No.
Right?
Yeah, that's terrible.
Australian.
Matt
Right.
and I,
Terrible.
we tried to do it the other day, and all we
We
could
can only
do
do
was
British.
"Oi, cunts," and it was like,
That's British.
that's straight British. Like,
Yeah.
Not around enough Australians.
Matt, you do yours. It can't just
No.
be me.
So
Embarrassing myself.
yeah, next segment. So
Okay.
anything else you guys want to talk about on this movie?
I feel like we've went on for way too long.
Yeah,
I think
it's-
that too. The only other thing I wanted to mention is I did not like the in between segment cards where
Mm.
it was just
Oh,
like this random be like
yes, I hated
car
that
black
shit.
screen with the words just being like
It
what's
was
this next
Dune.
chapter? No,
I
Dune
leaned
didn't do
over you,
that.
and I
It's
felt like it
Well,
worse
was
that's
than
just
Dune.
because she was like, "Oh, it's a parts," and I was
Right.
like, "No,
I felt
they
like it
don't
was
do
like
that in Dune."
Dune does not have cutscenes
No, where they
between
jump
their
time.
acts. Yeah, this is
just
purely for this movie, and
Yeah,
it felt like a Quentin Tarantino movie
Oh,
where they
yeah.
had
where they were
these things.
trying to do a
Right.
I
Tarantino
just
thing.
didn't like
I didn't
it.
like
I
it.
hated it.
I hate that also.
Yeah.
Same, and it
didn't work.
honestly made it feel longer. Like it's a long ass movie. This is
2.5
two
hours.
and a half at
Yeah.
least. It
Yeah,
felt
yeah.
like longer than that, but
Yeah.
it's a long movie. But those little cuts make it feel even longer to me.
Yeah.
So
I think it's way too fucking long.
yeah,
They
Which we
definitely could
didn't
have
talk about
shortened it.
that, but
They definitely could have
yeah.
shortened this movie.
Yeah.
Tightened up the story, cut out some of the like the love scene stuff. Like it was not necessary.
Yeah, we didn't need Furiosa to fall in love. Like,
If that's what it was.
I don't know. And also, I just could see her just being completely platonic,
yeah.
or
She doesn't
even
need a
like
man.
she doesn't need a man, and also like she is protecting like the wives,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and so it's like
that's
I feel like she needs to be in a different kind of role than this
Yeah.
straight relationship that they
Well, I
put
think
her
it
in.
should
I
have
don't
been
know.
platonic with no relationship. And
Yeah.
maybe, but that's not what they like alluded to.
I mean, I
But they ever
guess
showed
it's kind of
anything?
platonic. It's just weird. It's weird. It didn't feel right. It felt unnatural for her.
Yeah.
And it wasn't platonic enough. Like her relationship with Max was platonic and clearly platonic.
Yeah. It was also very short lived.
It was, but
Yeah.
she relied on him and respected him. And I
Yeah.
think that's what it comes down to with Jack is that it should have been, this is my mentor. I respect him. I'm going to try and save him because I respect him.
Mm-hmm.
Not because we're going to run away to the green and live
And
happily
bone.
ever after.
Yeah.
Like that was a weird,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know, whatever.
No, I agree. It's
Yeah.
it was unnecessary. Like it didn't need to happen because like that I really don't like his character in this movie the most because it was so out of place.
Mm-hmm.
Like him being so normal,
Right. Like he should have been more of like a
regular.
savage or something.
Right, exactly. He was just a
Yeah.
regular human being who drove a tractor trailer. Well, it was
Mhm.
essentially Blaine. just Blaine. If
But
he
in
had Riz,
in the
like
afterworld.
yeah,
Yeah, if he had
like
Riz.
if Blaine had Riz, this
The
was
Riz.
Blaine. Like I don't know. It was just really awkward because it was just such a plain Jane person,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he stuck out so much harder than anybody else because he was just Joe Schmo who was driving a truck.
And they were just like,
Yeah.
he's a Praetorian. He's really
Yeah.
good on the road.
He made it through.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. There was definitely something weird about that in the storytelling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question for y'all.
'Kay.
Since we have discussed it,
Mm-hmm.
has your rating went down? Because mine is a full decent now. I am not
I think mine's
a
a
rad.
decent.
I'm still sticking at 60%. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
I think
is
I
what
think
I
I'm gonna
I
be like
think mine will be like a 55.
I think
So
I'm
like a
gonna
high
be like a
decent.
48.
Damn. Okay.
Ooh,
Yeah.
All right.
spicy. Well, speaking of scores,
Oh yeah.
let's
Check it.
go look at the Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
See what the critics are thinking.
Silence. We love it.
Of the land.
We embrace it. We like to have it.
Okay. All right, here we go.
Clarice.
Here we go. So it is certified fresh, sitting at an 88%.
88.
Oh, who was
Holy
right? Was that
shit.
you, Matt? You were
Yes.
closest? Yeah.
I believe I said 80%. And Zena split it, and you were
Dude.
low, Chris.
I said
Jesus.
75.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I wrote down the wrong numbers, but continue.
Okay. Yep. So we have 190 reviews currently. There is no audience score, which is suspicious. The critics' consensus says retroactively enriching Fury Road with greater emotional heft, if no quite matching it in propulsive throttle.
That was just
Furiosa is another glorious swerve in mastermind George Miller's breathless race towards cinematic Valhalla.
Okay.
that was not even a real sentence.
I'm pretty sure it's AI created, and they just like
Yeah,
load the shit out of that with words.
there were like every type of trigger word we could put in here, like buzzword. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Um, no,
Just no.
I strongly disagree.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all disagreed in this room with
Yeah,
that
for
whole statement.
80.
I mean,
What was the percentage?
88%.
88. There's
I'm just
no
like,
way.
for them to be like, oh, it harkens back to Fury Road. It does
It
because they
enriches.
show the whole fucking
Oh my
Fury
God,
Road at
we
the
didn't
end
even
of the
talk about that.
credits.
Oh,
What
yeah.
the fuck was up with that?
Credits.
They were like,
Yeah.
oh, in case you guys are all idiots and you
In
don't
case you
remember the previous
forgot.
movie.
We'll show you what happens in the credits.
God, I hated that.
That was
I thought that was
Well,
the stupidest thing I've
lame.
ever seen. I
I mean,
almost wanted to watch that instead of
Chris
the
was
whole
like, I
movie.
loved it.
well, I wouldn't say that I loved it, but I haven't seen Fury Road for many, many years. So it didn't detract anything from it. I will just say that. And it also happened in the credits. So whatever. But
I just
Right.
it felt cringy to me. Like they were like taking I mean, I know, okay, it's all George Miller, like he did all of it. So it's not like he's taking credit for anything. But it almost felt like, hey, do you guys remember how good
Remember
Fury
that-
Road was?
which is so much better than this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like, and it's like, yeah, you know what? I do remember, and it was way better in
Mhm.
every way.
Yep, I agree. And that was why I think I really disliked it. Was because I
Yeah.
was like, oh, remember how this really good movie looked?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was. There was so much more practical effects. Which, if you want to make me come,
Mhm,
you will
mhm.
make practical effects in your movie because that's what really gets me off.
So that's what you watch
Sorry,
tonight, huh?
Zena. It's just the facts of me. I love practical effects. Like, give me the original Star Wars with fucking puppet Yoda.
Yeah.
I love it. It is so much more like,
A real Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah, it's
yes,
not the CGI
exactly.
bullshit and all
Yep.
Oh, yeah,
the
that we have
modern
now.
versions.
Yeah,
That they
God.
haven't even updated still. And I'm like, y'all can fucking update this even better.
yeah.
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 Like,
All
Oh,
right. So let's read some of these.
now that we
Scores.
learned how to make
And-
Chris come.
so let's talk about how Matt's camera just died once again.
It's dead. So we're just gonna read some scores.
So, all right. So hit me up with them scores,
Sure.
brother.
So let's see.
Mm-hmm.
Leonard
4.
Malton,
Yeah.
top critic here, said, I bought into Furiosa's eye-popping visuals 100%. Kudos to George Miller for
100.
delivering a prize package of entertainment well worth seeing on a big screen.
Okay.
Dude, did you not see the CGI we saw?
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Okay. Could you see those CGI flaws if not on a big screen?
Yes.
So,
I think if we
okay.
were on
Well,
outside of Dolby
There we
watching
go.
anything else, I'd be like, CGI is bad. Maybe at home,
yeah.
I wouldn't.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I didn't notice it to begin with, but like,
Oh no, it was bad from the beginning. Like there was the bikes scooting through the fucking desert.
Mm-hmm.
Awful. It was all bad. But as far as CGI goes, yeah. So,
Yeah.
Matt.
All right. So
We'll
next
continue.
person here, Richard. We're only gonna read like 3 of these. Richard Whitaker says, when the gleaming war rig rumbles through sky pirates and war boys shriek as they head to Valhalla, it's still a lovely day. And they gave it a 3.5 out of 5%.
Lovely.
Right on 5.
I mean, that's a 50%.
It's
Like
pretty
60%.
close. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
Solid tomato.
I don't
though.
feel like we even got War Boys. Like, it's a lovely day vibes from this.
They did reference that
I
mean, there's a
did,
couple of
many
guys.
times where they're like
Wasn't,
with the
the-
cocaine.
and they tried to like get the dedication across. It
All right.
didn't make
It didn't. Okay, so can we all agree that Fury Road was better than this movie?
Yes.
No,
100%.
Fury Road, I
Yes.
think I gave a 95%.
Yeah.
A high most excellent.
I gave it a no.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Hmm.
this movie is definitely going to be a decent at best
Right.
for me. This
Yeah.
will be either at the bottom or the second to bottom still.
Yeah.
After
Yeah.
we've talked about and everything.
Sure.
Yeah, it's not bogus, but it's definitely decent for me.
So this is a splat. from Kyle Smith of the Wall Street Journal. At its best, Furiosa is like a more fun, less ponderous, and mysticism-free Dune, with every pedal properly to the metal, but it's closer to numbing than enthralling, like a long ride with no shock absorbers.
Dune reference again. So I'm not crazy in thinking that.
Yeah, no, it's okay. So it does have the same. I don't know.
Boringness.
Whoa, hold on. You thought
Sand.
Dune was boring? Wait, which one? The first one or the second one?
Second
Tell me again.
Second one.
Second one, what, Zena? Say it louder. We can't hear you over in the side of the room.
Yeah, I think I can't remember what I rated it, but the more I think I think I rated it kind of low compared to you
I don't remember.
for Dune 2.
Probably.
Probably.
We're not cutting to Matt because his camera is dead. So
Yeah.
it's just me and Zena. So I'm sorry.
And my computer screen.
Yeah. But yes, and the computer screen.
I'm about to look up my Dune 2.
It was okay. I can see a little correlation between the two in the most.
That's the desert.
Yeah.
Oh,
sand,
I did 82%
motherfucking sand.
actually.
So Zena actually liked it.
Yeah.
She's misremembering. We're gonna watch it this weekend since it's now streaming on.
In my
Max.
mind, I didn't like it that much. I think I just rated that because I didn't want to be hated on.
The second one. You didn't enjoy the second Dune.
We didn't
very
know
much.
if we enjoyed it or not. We were in 4D.
Do
and we
you
were getting
remember?
shook all around.
Yeah, we
like
went
throwing
to
out of our chairs.
4D. Do you remember that, Chris? I don't care. We told Blaine.
I think I told Chris about it.
Okay, so
Okay.
we saw Dune Part 2.
Yeah.
It was like a date night, and we're like, we're gonna go try 4DX. Is that what it's called?
Okay.
4DX?
Yeah.
Which was a fucking awful idea. Never do that.
All right.
I'll never watch
And-
it on
Do they like
4D.
splash water in
Yes.
your
Well, it's a
face?
desert planet, so no.
And wind. No, there was shut up. There was one water scene, and then but there was a wind, so we were getting like blasted
Oh,
with
That was
wind.
awesome.
Yeah, I actually like the
Ass
wind.
blasted? Yeah.
Ass blasted.
Mhm.
Ass blasted
Yeah,
to wind.
this is farters. Just
Oh yeah.
But the shaking,
Oh god.
it was like, so every fight scene you were being violently shook, like thrown around like this
Wow.
the entire time. It was even more violent.
it
than
was
that.
terrible.
Yeah.
That sucked.
It sounds like a. Oh god. What is
So
that?
it's like a ride.
Yeah.
Like we
So
were at
it was like a
amusement
ride.
park.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so I overinflated my review, I think,
Okay.
to compensate because I was like miserable during the movie because of like my physical
Sure. Yeah.
body being shaken around. So I
Yeah.
was like, I think
That's
that it
fair.
was still a good movie, but the more I think about it, the more I think I would just be a rad.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be curious. This will be my third time watching it to see if I think anything different of it.
You really liked it though,
I did. I did.
overall, and you saw things differently than I did. So I'm curious to see it again.
All right,
Yeah.
one more review, and then
Well-
we'll move to Criticless.
Why are we doing one
we
more?
literally don't have your camera, so I
That's fine.
will.
Or
I'll mime whatever you're saying. You ready?
Are we looking at Criticless?
Sure.
Let's just go ahead and
Yeah,
look at
let's do
Criticless.
the
I mean, you should be showing the screen,
Yep.
so
Sure can.
it shouldn't be showing me at all.
Furiosa.
All right, so far
Furiosa.
out today, there's 3 reviews.
Yep.
So we have OMB reviews. He has given it a 45%. Sitting at a
Oh,
decent.
Mm.
okay. So very close to what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we have the
Little
Gore
lower.
King with
Yeah.
a 65%.
That's where I'm.
And
close
then
to.
the Movie Waffler, who reviewed it several days ago, at a
Mm.
79%.
Mhm.
So
Wow.
currently,
did see
averaging
his,
that out,
yeah.
it would be a rad. Now mixing ours in, it's gonna be a very low rad
Yeah.
Or
or
decent.
a high decent.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, I'm sure as the weekend goes, more reviews will start rolling in,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll start having some more stuff. All right. So let's go ahead and jump in with our send-off songs, and then that'll be that for us for today.
All right.
I'll go
Matt, you're
first
back.
since my camera has a limited battery charge.
Yeah. Please do.
So I am doing Dancing Like We're Dead by Powerman 5000, the band from the 90s. Everyone is shaking their heads right now because I've made everybody listen to this song. It is a earwig just
Mhm.
stuck in my ear.
Just for you. It's
Yes.
just
Oh my
right
God, I
for you.
can't get this
Yeah.
song out of my head. I've just been playing it on repeat. So Powerman 5000, the song that got famous from them was When Worlds Collide.
Uh-huh.
This is what it's like when worlds collide. Well, anyways, they still have their sound. They sound exactly the same. And then this song came out, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't get this song just out of my head. It's
Uh-huh.
fantastic. It's just driving and just the monotone in a good way, which is weird, but it is.
It's
That
just
is-
them saying dancing like we're dead. Say it. You
We're
say it.
dancing like we're dead,
That's all.
and we're dancing with severed eyes from a head.
That's
Literally
the song.
lines from the song. It's
Yeah.
dope.
Yeah.
So
All right.
there you go. That's what I
Cool.
got.
Yeah. Love it.
Chris?
I'm not going to go with anything about severed heads,
Blame.
but the song that I have is called Like Best Friends by Dirty Nice. It's a it feels like a group love vibe, if you're familiar with
yeah.
that band.
Yeah.
So it's got that kind of a vibe to it. It's just a fun little romp.
Like a summer
yeah.
song.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Z, what do you got?
Mine's also a summer song.
Uh,
It is called Do It So Good by Wargasm.
Hell yeah.
UK.
Ooh. All right. United Kingdom's coming into play here.
Mhm,
Love it.
mhm. We're not talking about the American or whatever Wargasm.
Yeah.
no,
no,
UK
fuck them.
specific.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, in that case, guys, thank you for joining us on our desert adventure with Furiosa. And we will be back next week. We don't know exactly what we're going to be reviewing yet. So we'll announce it on our social medias and then we'll go from there. So thank you guys. Have a great evening.
Bye.
Deuces, everybody. It's good shit. Love it.
Good too. I was like, what the fuck are you pointing at me for?